Hello, and welcome to Pets for Sleep. Whether you've returned tonight, or you've only just found this quiet little corner, this is a place to slow down, learn something gentle about the animals we love, and let the day soften, one quiet thought at a time. Tonight, we are beginning with a very simple question. What is a cat's favorite food? It seems like the kind of question that should have an easy answer. Maybe fish. Maybe chicken. Maybe the soft food that comes from a little can. Maybe the crunchy pieces that rattle into a bowl at the same time every evening. But if you have ever lived with a cat, you may already know that the answer is not so simple. A cat can hurry across the room when it hears a can open, then sniff the food once and walk away. It can love one flavor for weeks, then suddenly act as if that same food has become a strange object from another planet. It can beg for the corner of a piece of cheese, stare at roasted chicken, or press its nose toward a bowl of food that was not meant for it at all. And somewhere inside that small moment, with the bowl on the floor, and the cat standing quietly above it, there is a much older story. Because a cat's favorite food is not only about taste, it is also about smell. It is about warmth. It is about texture. It is about moisture. It is about memory, hunger, habit, and the deep body plan of a small hunter. Cats are obligate carnivores. That means they are built to get important nutrients from animal tissue. Their natural diet is usually high in protein, moderate in fat, and very low in carbohydrates. A mouse, for example, is not just a piece of meat. It is muscle, organs, fat, bone, blood, water, and tiny amounts of minerals, all packed into one small moving animal. For thousands of years, that was the kind of meal a cat's body understood. Not a clean plate, not a sweet snack, not a bowl with a label on the side, but prey. Warm, scented, moist, and full of the nutrients that a cat's body was shaped to use. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, you're welcome to subscribe. And if it feels natural, to leave a comment sharing where you're listening from tonight. It helps others find their way to this calm corner of the world, one sleepy traveler at a time. The quiet continues here, just as it is. So when a cat lowers its head to a bowl, it is doing something more detailed than simply deciding whether dinner looks good. Its nose is reading the air. Its tongue is waiting for certain signals. Its mouth is ready for certain textures. Its body is searching for signs that this food belongs to the old pattern of meat, scent, warmth, and nourishment. This is one reason cats can seem so mysterious around food. They are not choosing in the same way people choose. A person may think of favorite food through sweetness, comfort, memory, or flavor. A cat does not live in that same food world. Cats cannot taste sweetness the way humans can. Sugar does not speak strongly to them. A cookie, a piece of fruit, or a spoonful of ice cream may smell interesting because of fat, dairy, or other aromas. But the sweetness itself is mostly silent. Instead, a cat is tuned towards savory signals. The rich smell of meat, the warmth of freshly opened food, the soft pull of shredded chicken, the strong scent of fish, the familiar sound of a food pouch being opened in the kitchen. All of these small details can gather together and tell the cat that something worth eating may be nearby. And still, even then, The cat may hesitate. It may sniff the edge of the bowl. It may take one careful lick. It may step back, wait, and return a moment later. That pause is not empty. It is the quiet work of an animal whose ancestors survived by choosing carefully. Food had to be fresh enough, safe enough, meaty enough, worth the effort of chasing, catching, biting, and eating. The modern cat may be standing on a clean kitchen floor, with a soft bed nearby and water in a little dish. But inside that calm domestic scene, the older hunter has not disappeared. It is still there in the nose, in the tongue, in the teeth, and in the patient way a cat studies its food before accepting it. So tonight, the question is not only what food cats like best. It is what food means to a cat at all. And to answer that, we have to let the bowl become a doorway. Beyond it are barns, fields, grain stores, mice in the dark, and the long, quiet history of cats learning to live beside humans without ever fully leaving their hunting nature behind. Those barns and grain stores take us back to the beginning of the cat's food story. Long before a cat waited beside a kitchen cabinet, its ancestors moved through dry grass, stone walls, and the edges of early farms. The main ancestor of the house cat was the Near Eastern wildcat, a slim, sandy-colored animal known as Felis sylvestris libica. It lived across parts of North Africa and Southwest Asia, including the region often called the Fertile Crescent. That region curves through places such as modern-day Israel, Jordan, Syria, Turkey, and Iraq. About 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, humans in this part of the world began farming more often. They planted wheat, barley, lentils, and peas. They gathered harvests into storage pits, baskets, clay containers, and simple buildings. For the first time, food could sit in one place for months. That changed the lives of humans. It also changed the lives of mice. A pile of grain is a rich food source for a small rodent. One mouse can slip through a crack smaller than a human thumb. A group of mice can breed quickly when food is nearby, with females able to have several litters in a year. So around early villages, grain pulled rodents close. Then rodents pulled wildcats close. The cats did not need to understand farming. They only needed to understand movement in the dark. A rustle under a basket, a quick shape near a wall, a warm little body darting along the edge of stored grain. To a wildcat, a human settlement may have looked like a hunting ground that kept refilling itself. This is one reason scientists often describe early cat domestication as a commensal relationship. Commensal means one species benefits from another species' way of life, often without being directly cared for at first. The wildcats benefited from the rodents that gathered near people. Humans may have benefited from fewer mice in their stored food. The relationship could begin quietly, without leashes, training, or bowls placed neatly on the floor. No one had to invite the cat inside. The food chain had already opened the door. One of the oldest signs of a close human-cat relationship comes from Cyprus, an island in the eastern Mediterranean. There, archaeologists found a cat buried near a human in a grave, about 9,500 years old. Cyprus had no native wildcats, so people must have carried cats there by boat. That small fact tells us something important. By that time, humans already valued cats enough to move them across water. In China, Another clue comes from the farming village of Guanhukun in Shanxi province. Animal bones from that site are about 5,300 years old. Studies of chemical traces in the bones suggest that rodents were eating stored millet, and cats were eating animals connected to that farming world. Millet is a small grain that was widely grown in ancient northern China. So even far from the Fertile Crescent, the pattern appears again. People grew grain. Rodents came to eat it. Cats came to hunt the rodents. This early partnership was practical and quiet. The cat received prey. The humans received a smaller problem around their food stores. Over many generations, the wildcats that tolerated people best may have stayed closer to settlements. The more nervous ones likely kept their distance. Slowly, without a single clear moment when wild became tame, the cat began living near the human world. Its body remained a hunter's body. Its ears still turned toward tiny sounds. Its eyes still widened in low light. Its paws still moved softly over dust, straw, and packed earth. The first food humans gave to cats may not have been placed by hand at all. It may have been the mice and rats that gathered because humans had changed the landscape. So when a modern cat eats from a bowl, there is a long history beneath that simple act. The bowl is new. The hunger is old. And behind that hunger is the shape of the prey animal itself. The small, complete meal that taught the cat's body what food was supposed to be. Inside a single small prey animal, a cat found much more than a flavor. Picture a house mouse moving along the edge of a grain store. Its body may weigh only about 15 to 25 grams. Small enough to fit in a cat's mouth, but complex enough to carry nearly everything a hunting cat needed from that meal. There was muscle, which gave protein. There were organs, such as the liver, heart, lungs, and kidneys, each holding different nutrients. There was fat under the skin and around the organs. There was blood, carrying iron and salts. There were bones, small enough for a cat's teeth to crush, holding minerals like calcium and phosphorus. There was connective tissue, the springy material that helps hold joints, tendons, and skin together. And there was water. A living animal is full of moisture, and for a hunter that may not stop often to drink, that moisture matters. This is why the old idea of meat can be a little too simple. When people picture meat, they may imagine a clean piece of chicken breast on a cutting board, pale and trimmed, with the skin removed and the bones set aside. A hunting cat met food in a fuller form. A mouse, a small bird, a lizard, or a large insect came as a whole body. Each part added something slightly different. The muscle fed the cat's need for amino acids, the building blocks of protein. The organs carried concentrated nutrients. The bones and tissues supplied minerals in tiny but useful amounts. The fat held energy in a dense form, useful for an animal that might spend long periods watching, waiting, and then moving with sudden speed. Free-ranging cats still show this older pattern when they live outdoors. Depending on the place, they may catch small mammals such as mice, voles, young rats, or rabbits. In warmer regions, they may take lizards, geckos, small snakes, or frogs. Near gardens and fields, insects can become part of the diet too, especially grasshoppers, beetles, crickets, and moths. Some cats catch birds, often small songbirds that move low through shrubs or feed on the ground. The menu changes with the season, the landscape, and the prey that happens to be available. A cat living near a barn in Ontario may encounter mice under hay bales and sparrows near rafters. A cat near a Mediterranean village may find geckos on warm stone walls. A cat on a farm edge may follow the tiny tunnels of voles through long grass. The food is different, yet the pattern stays familiar. Small animals, animal tissue, moisture, bones, fat, organs, movement first, meal after. This whole prey pattern helps explain why modern cat food has to be carefully made. A bowl of food has to stand in for something nature once packaged on its own. The food may look simple from the outside, just soft pieces in gravy or dry brown shapes in a dish. Inside the recipe, though, the goal is much more exact. A complete cat food has to supply protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and the right balance between them. It has to give the cat what prey once gave in a less tidy form. That is also why feeding only plain cooked meat can fall short over time. A piece of chicken may be rich in protein, but it does not naturally contain the same full balance as a whole prey animal. It may lack enough calcium if no bone or mineral source is included. It may not provide the same organ nutrients. It may give the cat one useful part of the old meal, while leaving other quiet pieces missing. The modern bowl is trying to rebuild that ancient shape in a safer, cleaner, more predictable way. A can of wet food, a pouch, or a measured scoop of dry food may seem far removed from the rustle of a mouse in a grain room. Still, the reason it exists is tied to that earlier pattern. Cats learn food as small bodies full of animal-based nutrients. Their senses learn to recognize the signals around those bodies. Their teeth learn to handle them. Their digestion learn to use them. So the cat's favorite food begins to look less like a single ingredient and more like a match between the bowl and the body. And once the shape of the old meal comes into view, the deeper reason becomes clear. The cat's body depends so strongly on animal tissue because, over time, that was the world its biology was built around. That biological design begins deep inside the cat's cells. A cat may seem to choose meat because it smells good, or because the texture feels right in the mouth. The deeper reason is written into its metabolism. Metabolism means the set of chemical jobs the body performs every moment to stay alive. It is how food becomes energy. It is how damaged cells are repaired. It is how the liver cleans the blood, how muscles keep working, and how the eyes keep sending signals to the brain. In a cat, many of those jobs are built around animal tissue. One important example is taurine. Taurine is an amino acid, a small building block used by the body. Many animals can make enough taurine from other materials in their food. Cats cannot make enough on their own. They have to get it from their diet. And in nature, taurine is found in animal tissues, especially meat, heart, and dark muscle. Taurine helps protect the heart. It supports the retina, the thin layer at the back of the eye that catches light. It also plays a role in reproduction and healthy kitten development. A cat that does not get enough taurine over time can develop serious problems, which is why modern cat foods are carefully made with taurine included. Another important nutrient is arginine. Arginine is also an amino acid, and for cats, it is tied to a process called the urea cycle. The urea cycle is the body's way of handling ammonia. Ammonia is a waste product created when protein is broken down. In high amounts, ammonia is dangerous. So the liver has to change it into a safer substance that can leave the body in urine. Cats eat protein-rich food by nature, so this cleanup system matters every day. Arginine helps that cycle keep moving. Without enough arginine, ammonia can build up quickly, which shows how closely a cat's body is connected to the nutrients in animal-based food. Then there is arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid is a fatty acid, which means it is a type of fat the body uses for important signals. It helps with inflammation, skin health, reproduction, and normal cell function. Many omnivores can make arachidonic acid from plant fats. An omnivore is an animal that can eat both plant and animal foods, like a human, a pig, or a rat. Cats have a limited ability to make enough arachidonic acid this way. Animal fat supplies it in the form their bodies can use. Vitamin A tells a similar story. Humans can eat carrots or sweet potatoes and turn beta-carotene, the orange pigment in plants, into active vitamin A. Cats do that poorly. They need preformed vitamin A, which means vitamin A that is already in the usable animal form. In nature, that would come from organs such as liver. Vitamin A supports vision, skin, immune function, and growth. So a cat's food needs are shaped by pathways that were narrowed over many generations of hunting. Because its ancestors ate prey so consistently, the body did not have to keep every backup system that a plant-eating or mixed-eating animal might need. When a nutrient was always arriving in meat, organs, or animal fat, the cat's biology could lean on that steady source. Over time, dependence became part of the design. This is why a cat's favorite food cannot be understood only as preference. It is also survival chemistry. The smell of chicken, the pull of meat, the richness of animal fat, and the deep interest in prey all connect back to small nutrients moving through the blood and into the cells. A cat standing at a bowl does not know the names taurine, arginine, arachidonic acid, or vitamin A. It cannot read a label or measure protein. It has to begin somewhere older and quieter. Before the first bite, before the tongue decides, the nose lowers toward the food and starts reading the air. The first reading happens in silence. A cat lowers its head, pauses above the bowl, and draws in a small breath. Before the tongue touches anything, tiny scent molecules are already rising from the food. These molecules are called volatile compounds. Volatile simply means they can leave a surface and float into the air. Warm meat gives off more of them. Freshly opened wet food gives off more of them. A bowl of food that has been sitting out too long gives off a different pattern, one a cat may notice before a person does. To a cat, smell is one of the first signs that food may be worth eating. The nose gathers information that the eyes cannot. A brown piece of kibble may look plain to us, but it can carry traces of chicken fat, fish oil, liver flavor, yeast, or other animal-based aromas. A spoonful of wet food may release a stronger cloud, especially when it has gravy, broth, or shredded meat. That scent cloud reaches the cat's nose and touches special smell receptors inside the nasal passages. Receptors are tiny biological sensors. They respond to certain molecules and send signals toward the brain. The cat is not thinking through this in words. Its body is sorting the air. Fresh, familiar, meaty, strange, too cold, too old, worth checking. This is why a cat can seem excited when the package opens, then uncertain when the food reaches the bowl. The sound may have promised dinner. The scent may tell a more detailed story. Cats evaluate food through several channels at once. Smell matters. Texture matters. Shape matters. Temperature matters. Flavor matters. A food can be complete and balanced on the label with the right protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals, and still fail the first test if the scent does not feel right to the cat. This is especially clear with unfamiliar food. A new chicken recipe may smell different because it uses a different fat. A fish food may seem stronger because fish oils release sharp aromas even in small amounts. A prescription diet may be carefully made, yet still smell unfamiliar enough that a cat approaches it with caution. The nose is careful because caution once had value. A wildcat that ate spoiled prey, strange plant material, or meat carrying the wrong odor could become sick. A careful pause helped protect the body. In a modern home, that same pause can happen over a clean ceramic bowl under soft kitchen light. The danger may be gone, but the old checking system still works. Wet food often makes this system easier to notice. When a can is opened, aroma rises quickly. The food has moisture, fat, and protein at the surface. If it has been stored in the refrigerator, the scent may be quieter at first because cold slows the release of volatile compounds. As it warms, more scent rises. This is one reason some cats show more interest in food that has been gently warmed closer to room temperature. The food has not changed into a different meal. Its smell has become easier to read. Dry food works differently. Kibble has less moisture, so its aroma is often carried by sprayed-on fats or flavor coatings on the outside. When a cat bites it, the surface breaks and new smells are released. Some cats enjoy that crunch and smell together. Others prefer the stronger scent and softer feel of wet food. The preference can be shaped by age, habit, early feeding experience, and even the shape of the pieces in the mouth. A kitten raised on one texture may treat another texture with suspicion later. A cat used to flakes may reject pâté. A cat used to chicken may hesitate at lamb. The nose often begins that decision before the first lick, so the pause above the bowl is full of information. The whiskers may angle forward. The nostrils may move slightly. The head may tilt closer, then lift away. Each small movement helps the cat sample the food from a different angle. To us, it can look like fussiness. Inside the cat's sensory world, it is more like reading a label made of air. And because warmth makes that invisible label stronger, the scent of food naturally leads us toward the quiet power of temperature. Temperature changes the way food speaks to a cat. A spoonful of wet food straight from the refrigerator may be safe and fresh, but to the cat's nose, it can seem quieter. At about 6 degrees Celsius, which is close to refrigerator temperature, fats are firmer, gravy moves more slowly, and fewer aroma molecules rise into the air. The food is still there. The scent is simply harder to read. As that same food warms toward room temperature, around 21 degrees Celsius, the smell begins to open. The surface softens. The moisture loosens. Tiny volatile compounds lift away more easily and drift toward the cat's nose. A person may notice the difference when cold leftovers smell faint at first, then become stronger as they warm on the counter. For a cat, that change can matter even more, because smell is one of the first gates into eating. There is an even older reason warmth may feel meaningful. Fresh prey is warm. A mouse, a vole, or a small bird has a body temperature close to the range of many mammals and birds. A house mouse usually holds its body near 37 degrees Celsius. A small songbird may run even warmer, often above 40 degrees Celsius. When a wildcat caught prey in dry grass or near a grain store wall, the meal did not begin cold. It began as a warm body, with scent rising from fur, feathers, blood, organs, and skin. That warmth was part of the signal. It meant the prey was freshly caught. It meant the food had not been lying exposed for hours. It meant the meal still carried the full smell of living tissue. Modern cats can still respond to that ancient clue. In one study with aging cats, wet cat food was offered at 3 temperatures. One sample was chilled to 6 degrees Celsius. One was served around room temperature, at 21 degrees Celsius. One was warmed to 37 degrees Celsius, close to the body temperature of a small mammal. The cats showed the strongest preference for the food warmed to 37 degrees. That detail is simple, but it explains many quiet moments near a bowl. A cat may turn away from cold food, then accept the same food after it has warmed slightly. The recipe has not changed. The protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals are the same. The cat's sensory access to the food has changed. More aroma rises. The texture may soften. The surface may feel closer to something freshly caught than something pulled from a cold shelf. This does not mean every cat wants warm food every time. Cats are individuals, and their habits can be very specific. A cat raised on dry kibble may prefer crisp pieces at room temperature. A cat used to chilled leftovers may accept them without hesitation. An older cat with a weaker sense of smell may benefit more from warmth than a young cat whose nose still reads the bowl easily. Age can change appetite. Dental comfort can change appetite. Illness, stress, and memory can change appetite too. Still, warmth gives us one clear mechanism. It makes food more fragrant. It can make soft food easier to smell before the first bite. It can help a cat recognize the old pattern of fresh animal food, even in the very modern shape of a can, pouch, or dish. The kitchen scene stays quiet. A small bowl sits on the floor. A cat leans down, breathes in, and waits. Steam may not be visible. The food may only be slightly warm to a human hand. Yet in that small shift from cold to body-like warmth, the meal becomes louder to the cat's senses. The bowl carries a faint echo of prey. Warmth brings the scent upward. Scent invites the cat closer. And after the nose has read the air, the food must meet the mouth, where teeth, tongue, and texture begin their own careful test. The first bite brings the old design into view. A cat does not settle into a meal by chewing in wide, slow circles. A cow can move its jaw side to side while grinding grass between broad molars. A horse can crush hay and grain with large flat teeth made for long hours of chewing. A person can chew bread, vegetables, meat, and rice with a flexible jaw that handles many kinds of food. A cat's mouth is shaped for a narrower task. It grips, it pierces, it slices. When a cat opens its mouth, the front teeth are small. Those tiny incisors can help scrape or nibble. The long canine teeth, the sharp pointed ones, are built for holding prey. Farther back, the most important tools are the carnassial teeth. Carnassial means cutting teeth. In cats and other meat-eating mammals, these upper and lower teeth slide past each other like the two blades of scissors. They help shear meat, skin, and connective tissue into pieces small enough to swallow. This matters because a mouse or bird does not arrive as a soft paste. It has skin. It has muscle fibers. It has tendons, which are strong bands that connect muscle to bone. It has small bones and joints. The cat's mouth evolved around that kind of work. A cat's jaw mostly moves up and down with strength and precision. It does not grind food into a smooth mash the way plant-eating animals do. The teeth cut food into swallowable pieces, and the tongue helps move those pieces through the mouth. That simple shape helps explain why texture can matter so much at the bowl. A food may smell right and still feel wrong. A cat that loves shredded chicken may ignore a smooth pate. A cat that enjoys pate may leave chunks in gravy untouched. Some cats lick the gravy first and leave the solid pieces behind. Others crunch dry kibble happily, piece by piece, because the surface breaks in a predictable way. Modern cat food comes in many forms. There are flakes that resemble thin pieces of fish. There are minced foods chopped into tiny bits. There are soft patés pressed into a smooth shape. There are shreds, strips, morsels, chunks, gravies, broths, and dry kibble made into small triangles, discs, or rounded pieces. Each shape changes how the food touches the mouth. A cube may press against the teeth differently than a flake. A sticky pate may cling to the tongue. A dry piece of kibble may crack sharply and release aroma from its outer coating. A gravy may carry smell and fat across the tongue before the cat reaches the solid food underneath. This is one reason two foods with the same main ingredient can feel completely different to a cat. Both may say chicken on the label. One may be a soft loaf. The other may be thin shredded pieces in broth. The nutrient idea may be similar, but the mouth experience changes. For some cats, that change is enough to decide the meal. Texture preferences can also become habits. A kitten that grows up eating only dry food may be unsure about wet food later. A cat used to soft food may not understand the hard crack of kibble. An older cat with tender gums, missing teeth, or dental pain may begin avoiding textures it once accepted. Even a healthy cat can develop strong opinions about the size and shape of food pieces. A small hunter survives by noticing details. The mouth is part of that noticing. It checks resistance. It checks softness. It checks whether the food breaks apart in a familiar way. In a wild meal, texture would have carried information. Fresh prey has a different feel from dried scraps. Muscle feels different from bone. Skin feels different from organ tissue. The cat's mouth learned from all of it. So when a cat walks away from a bowl after one careful bite, the reason may live in a detail too small for a person to notice. The smell may have passed. The warmth may have helped. The texture may have given a different answer. Food has to make sense in the nose and in the mouth. After that, the tongue begins to send its own signals, and one familiar human pleasure fades almost completely from the cat's world. For humans, sweetness can feel like one of the clearest food signals. A ripe peach in July, a spoonful of honey, a warm cookie cooling on a tray, a small bowl of ice cream after dinner. Sweetness often tells the human body that energy is nearby. Fruit carries sugars. Milk carries lactose and natural milk sugar. Honey is rich in simple sugars that can be used quickly for energy. Human taste buds notice those signals easily because our species evolved as flexible eaters. People can eat plants, fruits, grains, meat, roots, seeds, and many mixed foods. A cat lives in a very different taste world. Place a sweet food near a cat, and the smell may still catch its attention. Butter, cream, vanilla, fat, or warmth may drift into the air. The sugar itself sends almost no clear message. To a cat, sweetness is mostly quiet. This comes from a small change deep in the cat's genes. Genes are like instruction pages inside the body. They help build proteins, and proteins do much of the body's work. For sweetness, mammals usually need two taste receptor parts that fit together on the tongue. A taste receptor is a tiny sensor that responds when certain molecules touch it. One of those parts is made with help from a gene called TAS1R2. In cats, that gene became a pseudogene. A pseudogene is an old genetic instruction that no longer works properly. It is still present in the body's genetic material, like a faded page in a very old book, but it no longer makes the working part it once did. Because the TAS1R2 gene does not work normally in cats, the sweet receptor cannot form in the usual way. The tongue has no strong tool for reading sugar. This may sound surprising at first, because many animals enjoy sweet foods. Dogs can taste sweetness. Rats can taste sweetness. Bears can taste sweetness and may seek out berries, honey, or fruit. Cats took a more specialized path. Their ancestors lived on animal prey for so long that sweetness became far less useful. A mouse does not taste like a mango. A bird does not offer the sugar signal of a ripe fig. A lizard does not guide a hunter with the sweetness of fruit nectar. For a small carnivore, the important signals came from animal tissue. Meat, fat, organs, warmth, movement. Over many generations, the need to taste sugar faded from the cat's body plan. The lost sweet signal also helps explain some ordinary moments at home. A cat may sniff cake because of butter or eggs. It may approach cereal because milk is in the bowl. It may seem curious about ice cream because of fat and cold cream. The sweetness that feels obvious to a person is barely part of the cat's experience. Its interest usually comes from some other piece of the food. Aroma, texture, fat, routine, attention. That difference can make the cat feel even more mysterious. Two creatures can look at the same plate and receive very different messages from it. A person may notice sugar first. A cat may notice animal fat, dairy smell, or the simple fact that a familiar human is eating nearby. The same kitchen holds two separate food worlds at once. This does not mean a cat's taste world is empty. It is highly tuned. It has simply been tuned toward a different target. The cat's tongue carries the history of a hunter that did not need fruit trees or flower nectar to survive. It needed the chemical signs of prey. It needed to recognize the deep savory taste of animal cells. With sweetness nearly silent, the strongest taste trail leads toward the rich, meaty signal known as savory. Savory taste is often called umami. Umami is the deep, meaty taste found in broth, cooked meat, fish, aged cheese, and protein-rich foods. The word comes from Japanese and is often translated as pleasant, savory taste. It was first described in 1908 by the Japanese chemist Kikunai Ikeda, who studied the rich flavor of kelp broth. In people, umami is one reason chicken soup tastes full and warm. It is why slow-cooked beef broth feels richer than plain salted water. It is why roasted meat can smell and taste so complete before anything sweet is involved. For cats, this savory world matters deeply. Their tongues carry a taste receptor known as TAS1R1 and TAS1R3. A taste receptor is a small sensor on taste cells. When certain food molecules touch it, the receptor changes shape and sends a signal toward the brain. In cats, this receptor helps detect savory compounds linked to animal tissue. Those compounds include amino acids. Amino acids are the small building blocks that make up protein. Meat, organs, fish, and broth all contain them. Yet in the cat, amino acids may become especially meaningful when they appear with another group of molecules called nucleotides. Nucleotides are tiny cell molecules. Every living cell contains them. They help build genetic material, store energy, and take part in many normal cell processes. When animal tissue becomes food, those small molecules can help create the rich savory signal that says meat. One nucleotide often discussed in food science is inosine monophosphate, sometimes shortened to IMP. It is found in meat and fish and can make savory flavor seem stronger. Another is guanosine monophosphate, or GMP, which is known for adding savory depth in some foods. The exact cat taste system is still more unusual than the human one, but the larger pattern is clear. Cats are tuned towards signals that point to animal cells. A bowl of chicken broth carries those signals. So does fish. So does liver. So does meat cooked gently enough to release aroma and flavor into the surrounding moisture. This helps explain why a cat may seem drawn to the liquid around meat. The gravy in wet food is often more than decoration. It can carry smell, fat, amino acids, and savory compounds across the tongue. A cat that licks all the gravy and leaves the chunks behind may be following the strongest chemical trail first. Broth can work in a similar way. Warm chicken broth without unsafe seasonings gives off a soft animal smell and carries savory molecules in liquid form. The cat does not need to understand chemistry. The tongue simply receives the signal. The food has the taste of animal tissue. This savory code also helps explain why fish can be so powerful. Fish flesh contains strong-smelling oils and savory compounds that lift easily into the air. Even a small amount of tuna water can fill a kitchen with a scent that is obvious to a person and far more detailed to a cat. A cat may come from another room, quiet paws crossing the floor, because the smell and savory signal match an ancient expectation. Meat, cells, protein, animal food. The same system can make liver, heart, or dark poultry meat especially interesting. These tissues are rich in the kinds of compounds a carnivore's body has long been built to use. In a prey animal, the cat would have eaten muscle and organs together, receiving a wide range of animal-based signals in one small body. In the modern bowl, food makers often try to capture those signals with meat meals, organ ingredients, animal fats, broths, and flavor coatings. A dry kibble may look plain, but the outside can be coated with fats and digest. A concentrated flavor ingredient made from broken down animal proteins. A wet food may rely on meat juices and gravy to carry its savory message. This makes the cat's preference feel more precise. The cat is not simply being difficult when it leans toward one food and away from another. Its tongue and nose are searching for a pattern. Certain molecules open the door. Certain textures hold attention. Certain aromas make the bowl feel more like prey. And as carefully as savory taste pulls the cat toward food, the taste system also has a second job. Some flavors tell the body to slow down, step back, and check for danger. That warning often begins with bitterness. That small warning can show up in a very ordinary moment. A cat leans toward a bowl, takes one lick, and suddenly pulls its head back. The ears may shift. The mouth may open slightly. A paw may pass over the face, as if the taste needs to be wiped away. Sometimes this happens with a new food. Sometimes it happens with a medicine hidden inside something soft. Sometimes it happens with a treat that smelled promising from across the room, then changed completely once it touched the tongue. Bitterness is one of the oldest warning tastes in the animal world. Many plants make bitter chemicals as a defense. Some spoiled foods develop sharp, unpleasant flavors, as bacteria and fungi begin breaking them down. Certain natural toxins also taste bitter, which makes bitterness useful as a signal to slow down before swallowing more. Cats are strong meat eaters, yet their tongues still carry this warning system. Domestic cats have multiple working bitter taste receptors. These receptors sit on taste cells and respond when bitter molecules touch them. The signal travels through nerves toward the brain, where the food is marked as suspicious or unpleasant. Tests on cat bitter receptors have found at least 7 that still work. That number is interesting because cats eat far less plant material than many omnivores. A goat, a rat, or a human may meet bitter plant compounds often. A cat's main food history is animal prey. Even so, bitterness still matters. A mouse may have plant material in its stomach. A bird may have eaten seeds, berries, or insects with defensive chemicals. A piece of old meat may carry the first signs of decay. Water in a puddle, residue on a surface, or a strange household substance may bring unfamiliar compounds to the tongue. The bitter system gives the cat a way to check those things quickly. This is part of why medicine can be so difficult with cats. Many medications have a bitter taste. A tablet may be tiny, but once the coating breaks, the flavor can spread fast across the tongue. Liquid medicine can be even more obvious because it touches more of the mouth at once. A cat that foams, drools, turns away, or refuses the food afterward may be reacting to taste rather than attitude. The body has found a warning signal, and is trying to clear it. This also explains why hiding medicine in food does not always work. A strong-smelling fish treat may cover the scent at first. A soft pocket may hide the shape. The bitter taste can still appear once the cat bites through. After that, the cat may remember the whole food as suspicious. One unpleasant taste can attach itself to a smell, a bowl, or even a certain texture. That memory can last. A cat may refuse the same flavor later because the earlier bitter experience taught caution. This carefulness can feel frustrating in a home, especially when the food is safe and the medicine is meant to help. Inside the cat's sensory world, the reaction has a clear purpose. The tongue is guarding the body. It is separating the rich signals of animal food from chemical notes that may carry risk. Bitterness does not need to be perfect to be useful. It can reject safe things by mistake. It can miss some unsafe things too. A taste system shaped by evolution works with broad signals, not human labels. It reads the food through molecules, texture, smell, and memory. A modern kitchen contains many things no wildcat ever had to judge. Pills, cleaning residues, flavored sauces, artificial sweeteners, cooked spices, and processed snacks all belong to a world much newer than the cat's tongue. The bitter receptors remain older than that. They belong to the long history of an animal that survived by checking before swallowing. So the cat's sudden rejection may be a quiet form of self-protection. The same mouth that searches for savory meat also watches for chemical warning signs. Taste guides the cat toward food and away from trouble. Still, the food a cat evolved to eat carried more than flavor. A small prey animal also carried water inside its body, hidden in the blood, organs, muscle, and soft tissues that made up the meal. Inside those tissues, moisture was part of dinner from the beginning. A mouse is a small animal, but much of its body is water. So is the body of a bird, a frog, or a lizard. Living cells need fluid to work, and prey carries that fluid in its blood, organs, muscles, and soft tissues. For a hunting cat, eating and drinking were closely linked. A fresh meal did not only bring protein and fat, it also brought water in a form the body could use. This matters because the domestic cat's ancestry reaches back to dry places. The Near Eastern wildcat, Felis sylvestris libica, lived in regions where water could be scattered and seasonal. In parts of North Africa and Southwest Asia, a small hunter could not always count on a full stream, pond, or bowl waiting nearby. A body shaped in that landscape had to be efficient. Cats can concentrate their urine more than many animals, which means their kidneys can hold onto water by sending less of it out of the body. That is useful in a dry environment. It also helps explain why some cats do not seem as eager to drink as dogs. A dog may lap water loudly after a walk. A cat may visit the bowl quietly, take a few small laps, and leave. The old hunting pattern gave cats moisture through food. Modern feeding can change that pattern. Wet cat food often contains about 70 to 80% moisture. Open a can or pouch, and that water is easy to see. It is in the gravy. It is in the soft pâté. It is in the liquid that gathers along the edge of the dish. That moisture makes wet food closer to the water content of a prey animal. Dry food is very different. Many dry kibbles contain only about 6 to 10% moisture. They are made to stay shelf-stable, to pour easily, and to keep their shape in a bag. That dryness is useful for storage. It also means the cat has to get more of its water somewhere else. The body still needs fluid for blood volume, digestion, temperature control, and waste removal. The kidneys still need water to help move dissolved waste into urine. The mouth still needs saliva to soften food and begin the process of swallowing. The difference between wet and dry food is easy to picture. A spoonful of wet food presses softly against the dish and leaves moisture behind. A piece of kibble holds its shape, cracks under the teeth, and releases scent from its coating. Each can be part of a cat's life, depending on the cat and the diet. Their moisture levels tell different stories. One carries water built into the meal. The other asks the cat to drink more separately. Some cats handle that well. They may enjoy fountains, wide bowls, or fresh water placed away from food. Others seem to drink very little, even when water is available. Their behavior can feel strange until the old prey pattern is remembered. A small wildcat did not always walk from a meal to a clean water dish. It often received part of its water from the animal it had just caught. Food was meat, scent, fat, and fluid together. In the modern home, those parts have been separated. Food may sit in one bowl. Water may sit in another. Dry food may be stored in a cupboard for weeks. Wet food may wait in a small can, sealed until dinner. The cat's body still carries a memory of moisture inside food. This is why the question of favorite food keeps getting wider. Flavor matters. Smell matters. Texture matters. Safety matters. Water belongs in the story too, quietly present inside the meals cats evolved to eat. A bowl of food has to satisfy more than hunger. It has to support a body built from the long history of small prey in dry country. And once humans began replacing that prey with prepared meals, the bowl had to imitate far more than the taste of meat. It had to stand in for the missing animal. The modern bowl became a careful reconstruction. In the wild, a small prey animal arrived already assembled. Protein came in muscle. Fat came under skin and around organs. Water filled the tissues. Minerals sat in bone, blood, and soft parts. Vitamins were stored in organs, such as the liver. A cat did not need each piece separated and measured. The prey body carried the pattern together. Prepared cat food has to rebuild that pattern in a controlled way. A can of wet food or a scoop of dry food may look simple from the outside. Inside the recipe, many small decisions have already been made. The maker has to choose protein sources, fat sources, minerals, vitamins, texture, moisture, and flavor. The food also has to survive shipping, storage, and the time it spends on a store shelf. A pouch of chicken in gravy may sit in a warehouse, then a truck, then a pet store, then a kitchen cupboard. Dry kibble may stay sealed in a bag for months. That kind of food has to be steady and safe in a way fresh prey never had to be. This is where the phrase complete and balanced becomes important. Complete means the food contains the required nutrients for the life stage named on the label. A kitten has different needs from an adult cat. A pregnant or nursing cat has different needs again. Balanced means those nutrients are present in the right proportions. calcium and phosphorus, for example, have to be held in a useful relationship because they work together in bones, teeth, and many body processes. Too much of one nutrient can affect how the body uses another. So a good cat food recipe is more like a measured map than a pile of ingredients. For adult cats, pet food standards use a crude protein minimum of 26% on a dry matter basis for maintenance diets. Dry matter basis means the water has been removed from the calculation. This makes it easier to compare wet food and dry food fairly. A wet food may look lower in protein on the label because it contains so much moisture. After the water is taken out of the math, the true nutrient level can be compared more clearly. That detail matters because cats need steady protein. Their bodies use amino acids every day to maintain muscle, enzymes, organs, immune cells, and normal repair. Modern cat foods may also include added taurine. That small nutrient is so important that it is commonly added even when meat ingredients are present. The food may include added vitamins, such as vitamin A and vitamin D. It may include minerals such as calcium, phosphorus, zinc, copper, iodine, and selenium. It may include specific fats to support skin, coat, energy, and cell function. Some formulas include animal liver, fish oil, poultry fat, egg product, or meat meals, which are concentrated animal ingredients made by cooking and drying tissue. The goal is consistency. A wildcat catching mice may get different amounts of nutrients from one meal to the next. A modern indoor cat may eat the same food every morning and evening for years. That makes balance especially important. The bowl has to keep showing up with the same quiet reliability. It has to give the cat what prey once provided through a much less tidy process. This is one reason plain scraps from the kitchen cannot easily replace cat food. A little cooked chicken may smell wonderful. It may be useful as a small treat for some cats. A long-term diet built from plain chicken would miss parts of the old whole prey pattern. It would not automatically supply the right mineral balance. It would not carry the same range of organ nutrients. It would not be built with taurine, vitamins, and fats measured for daily use. The modern bowl is doing work that is easy to overlook. It is taking the scattered pieces of an animal meal and turning them into something stable, repeatable, and safe enough for a house cat to eat again and again. Still, nutrient targets do not finish the story. A food can meet the body's needs on paper and still fail in the cat's world. The cat may smell something unfamiliar. The texture may feel wrong. The temperature may be too cold. A memory may make the bowl seem suspicious. The recipe may be balanced while the cat's senses remain unconvinced. A cat can stand over a carefully made meal and still decide that something feels wrong. The food may be fresh. The bowl may be clean. The recipe may have the right nutrients. Still, the cat lowers its nose, takes in the scent, and steps away. That small refusal can feel confusing, especially when the same cat ate the same food yesterday. To the cat, the choice may be passing through several quiet filters at once. The smell has to feel familiar enough. The texture has to match what the mouth expects. The pieces have to be shaped in a way that feels comfortable. The temperature has to send the right signal. The food also has to arrive at a time when the cat feels safe, settled, and well. A small change can matter. One company may change the size of a kibble by only a few millimeters. A wet food may become slightly thicker after a recipe update. A can from the refrigerator may smell flatter than a freshly opened one. A bowl washed with a strong soap may carry a scent a human barely notices. The cat notices from much closer to the surface. Its nose is almost touching the food. Its whiskers are near the rim. Its tongue and teeth are ready to test every small detail. Early experience can shape these choices too. A kitten that grows up eating soft pate may learn that smooth, moist food is normal. A kitten raised mostly on dry kibble may learn that crisp pieces are normal. During the first months of life, the brain is building strong maps of scent, texture, routine, and safety. Those early food memories can stay with a cat for years. This is sometimes called food imprinting. It means early exposure helps shape what the animal later accepts as familiar food. A cat that has never eaten fish may be cautious around fish. A cat that grew up with chicken may prefer chicken. A cat that learned one shape of kibble may hesitate when the pieces become larger, flatter, or harder. This helps explain why sudden food changes often fail. A person may look at two foods and see the same idea. Both are chicken. Both are wet. Both are made for adult cats. The cat may read them as completely different meals. One smells like liver. One smells like broth. One feels sticky. One breaks apart into flakes. One was served cold. One arrived in the old familiar dish at the usual time. Illness can make the pattern even more delicate. If a cat eats a food and later feels nauseous, the body may connect that food with the bad feeling. Nauseous means sick to the stomach. Even when the food did not cause the problem, the cat may remember the smell and avoid it later. This kind of food aversion can happen in many animals. The body learns quickly from discomfort because avoiding a dangerous food can protect survival. Stress can also change appetite. A new home, a loud repair, a visiting dog, a different feeding spot, or a new cat in the house can make food feel less safe. Cats often prefer eating where they can relax and watch their surroundings. A bowl near a noisy appliance, a busy doorway, or a litter box may make the meal less appealing. The food itself may be fine. The setting may be sending the wrong message. So pickiness begins to look more like careful sorting. The cat is sorting scent. It is sorting texture. It is sorting memory. It is sorting the safety of the room and the state of its own body. This does not make every refusal easy to solve. A cat can still be difficult to understand. Yet the behavior has a shape. It comes from an animal built to approach food with caution. Because in the older world, caution helped a hunter stay alive. A modern cat may perform that same check beside a stainless steel dish, under a kitchen light, with soft food from a pouch. The ancient system is still working through modern objects. Inside the home, that system reads the bowl. Outside, the same body reads motion in grass, sound near fences, and small living trails through gardens and fields. Beyond the walls of the house, the cat's food world begins to move. The bowl stays still. Prey does not. An outdoor cat crosses a yard by reading small changes that most people miss. A dry leaf shifts near a fence post. Grass bends along a narrow path. A beetle clicks under a porch step. A sparrow drops from a branch to the soil for a seed. The cat's body responds to these tiny motions before hunger has fully entered the story. Domestic cats, Felis catus, are still skilled hunters when they live outdoors or move freely between house and landscape. Their menu depends on the place. Near a barn, a cat may find house mice, field mice, voles, and young rats moving through straw, feed bags, and wooden walls. Near a garden, it may encounter moths, beetles, grasshoppers, and crickets in summer. In warmer places, especially around stone walls and dry paths, small reptiles such as geckos, skinks, and lizards may become part of the hunt. Near ponds, ditches, or wet grass, frogs and other amphibians can appear. In shrubs and low trees, birds may become targets, especially small species that feed close to the ground. Free-ranging domestic cats have been documented consuming a very wide range of animals around the world. Global studies have counted more than 2,000 prey species linked to cats. That number includes mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, insects, and other small animals. The exact mix changes from country to country, and even from one neighborhood to another. A cat in a Canadian farmyard may live mostly among rodents and birds. A cat in Australia may encounter small marsupials, reptiles, and ground-nesting birds. A cat on a Mediterranean island may find lizards along warm stones, mice near houses, and insects moving through dry grass. The cat does not need a plan for all of this. Its hunting system works with opportunity. Movement matters, size matters, distance matters. The animal has to be close enough to stalk, small enough to handle, and exposed enough to catch. A vole hidden deep in a tunnel may be safe. The same vole crossing open grass at dusk becomes readable. A bird high in a tree may be out of reach. A bird feeding low near a hedge becomes part of the cat's attention. Season also changes the outdoor menu. In spring, young animals begin appearing. In summer, insects become more active. In autumn, rodents may move closer to sheds, barns, garages, and houses as nights cool. In winter, prey can become harder to find, especially in places with snow or frozen ground. The cat's food world is shaped by these quiet changes in weather, light, cover, and movement. Hunting is also connected to instinct in a way that feeding alone does not erase. A well-fed cat may still stalk a moth across a porch light. It may still crouch near a mouse hole after eating dinner indoors. It may still pounce on a toy, a shadow, or a moving string, because the hunting sequence can turn on before true hunger is strong. The eyes lock, the body lowers, the shoulders shift, the back paws press against the ground. Then comes the short burst of motion. That sequence belongs to the cat's nervous system. It is older than the food bowl. It can be triggered by movement even when the stomach is not empty. This is one reason outdoor food preference is difficult to describe as one favorite flavor. Outside, food is also timing. It is cover. It is access. It is the sudden appearance of something small enough to catch. A cat may take a mouse because mice are common near grain. It may catch an insect because the insect moves in a tempting way. It may focus on birds in one yard and rodents in another, because the landscape offers different chances. The outdoor cat lives between two worlds. it may return home to a bowl with measured food in the evening. It may spend part of the day listening under a shed or watching grass near a fence line. The domestic life and the hunting life can exist in the same animal, quietly layered together. That wider outdoor menu also changes the way one famous image of cat food begins to feel. The old picture of a cat dreaming mainly of fish is only one part of a much larger feeding story. The image is easy to picture. A cat sits beside a little fish. Maybe it is a silver sardine on a plate. Maybe it is a cartoon fishbone with a few neat ribs left behind. Maybe it is the sharp smell of tuna rising from a can in the kitchen. For many people, fish feels almost inseparable from cats. Old cartoons used the image often. Storybooks placed fish beside cats as if the pairing had always belonged together. Modern pet food shelves still carry that idea forward with salmon, tuna, whitefish, ocean fish, and seafood blends printed across cans and pouches. The association is strong. The history is more layered. The ancestors of domestic cats came mainly from dry regions of North Africa and Southwest Asia. A Near Eastern wildcat living near early grain stores would have been far more likely to catch mice than salmon. Barn cats in Europe, North America, and many farming regions built their lives around rodents. House mice, field mice, young rats, voles, and small birds were the animals most often moving through straw, feed rooms, rafters, and stone walls. A cat hunting beside stored wheat or barley did not need a river full of fish. It needed small prey moving close to human food. That older pattern helps soften the fish myth without removing it completely. Many cats truly are drawn to fish. The reason has a lot to do with scent. Fish gives off powerful odor because its oils and proteins break down into strong-smelling compounds. Even a small spoonful of tuna water can fill a room with a smell that is easy for humans to notice. For a cat, that same smell can be much richer. Fish also carries animal protein, fat, amino acids, and savory compounds that fit the cat's meat-seeking taste system. The smell rises quickly. The flavor is bold. The liquid around canned fish can carry salty, meaty signals across the tongue. This makes fish highly interesting to many cats, even if fish was never the universal ancestral meal. Human life helped make fish more available. In coastal villages, cats could have found scraps near docks, boats, markets, and kitchens. A fishing town leaves different food traces than a grain farm. Along the Mediterranean, the North Sea, or the coasts of Japan, people cleaned fish, dried fish, salted fish, and carried fish through open markets. Heads, skins, small bones, and scraps could end up where cats could reach them. A cat living near a harbor would learn a different food landscape from a cat living beside a barn. This is how culture can shape the image of an animal's appetite. People saw cats eating fish scraps. Artists repeated the scene. Pet food companies turned the scene into flavors. Over time, the idea became familiar enough to feel ancient. Even though many cats in history lived much closer to mice than to mackerel, balanced fish-based cat food can be part of a normal diet. A properly made tuna, salmon, or whitefish formula can include added taurine, vitamins, minerals, fats, and the right nutrient balance. That is very different from feeding fish alone. Plain fish does not automatically recreate a whole prey animal. A steady fish-only diet may miss key balances over time. Raw fish can also carry extra concerns, including parasites, bacteria, or enzymes that affect certain nutrients if handled poorly or fed in the wrong way. Cooked, unseasoned fish may be a small occasional food for some cats, depending on the cat, but the larger diet still has to be complete. The scent of fish can be useful in another way. For some cats with low appetite, a strong fish aroma can make food more noticeable. A little fish scent may pull attention toward the bowl. A fish-flavored gravy may help carry warmth and savory taste together. This works because fish speaks loudly to the nose. The attraction comes from chemistry, availability, and memory around human food, all layered on top of the cat's deeper carnivore design. So the cat beside the fish is not a false image. It is simply one image from a wider feeding story. Behind it are barns, fields, docks, kitchens, cans, and the strong animal smell that rises when fish is opened. Human imagination gave cats another famous food as well. It waits in a quiet saucer, pale and smooth, carrying a feeling of comfort that belongs more to people than to most adult cats. The saucer belongs to one of the oldest pictures people carry about cats. A small cat bends its head toward a shallow dish of milk. The surface is pale and still. The whiskers hover over the rim. The tongue moves in quick, delicate laps, touching the liquid and drawing it upward. It is a soft image, and it makes sense that people kept returning to it. Milk feels gentle to humans. It is linked with childhood, kitchens, farms, warmth, and care. In old barns, fresh milk was nearby every morning. In storybooks, a saucer of cream could make a cat seem loved and looked after. On farms, cats often lived near cows, goats, dairies, and milking rooms, so the image became easy to believe. A cat near a bowl of milk feels like a natural scene. Inside the cat's body, the picture changes with age. Kittens begin life on milk. For the first weeks, their mother's milk is their whole food supply. Newborn kittens are tiny, often weighing around 85 to 115 grams at birth. Their eyes are closed. Their hearing is still developing. Their bodies depend completely on nursing, warmth, and their mother's care. To use milk, a kitten makes an enzyme called lactase. An enzyme is a small helper protein that makes a chemical job happen faster in the body. Lactase breaks down lactose, the main sugar in milk. Lactose is too large for the body to use easily by itself. Lactase splits it into smaller sugars that can be absorbed through the intestine. During nursing, this system is useful and necessary. A kitten's body expects milk. The gut is prepared for it. The meal is warm, rich, and matched to the kitten's stage of life. Then weaning begins. Weaning is the slow move from milk to solid food. In many kittens, this begins around 4 weeks of age. By about 6 to 8 weeks, many kittens are eating solid food much more reliably, though the timing can vary. As the kitten grows, its body changes. The need for mother's milk fades. Lactase production often declines. By adulthood, many cats have much less lactase than they had as kittens. This is where cow's milk can become a problem. Cow's milk contains lactose. A regular cup of cow's milk can contain about 12 grams of lactose. That amount is normal for a calf, which is built to grow on cow's milk. For many adult cats, it is more than the gut can handle comfortably. When lactose is not broken down well, it moves through the intestine undigested. Bacteria in the gut can ferment it. Ferment means they break it down and produce gas and other byproducts. That can lead to discomfort, loose stool, or stomach upset. The cat may have enjoyed the taste or texture at the saucer, while the digestive system struggled with the milk afterward. Cream can seem different because it is richer in fat and may contain less lactose per spoonful than plain milk, depending on the product. Even so, cream is very fatty and still belongs outside a cat's regular needs. It can attract a cat because fat carries aroma and gives a rich mouthfeel. The attraction does not mean the food fits the body well. Adult cats do not need milk. They need water, and they need food made for their life stage. Their older hunting body is built around animal tissue, moisture, protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, and the careful balance that a complete diet provides. The comfort of milk belongs mostly to human memory. The kitten stage belongs to the cat's early life. The adult cat has moved into a different body, with different needs, even if the old image of the saucer still feels tender. So the cat at the milk dish becomes another quiet lesson. Human food images can be beautiful. They can come from farms, books, childhood kitchens, and old habits. The cat's body reads them through digestion, enzymes, and age. That same mismatch appears in many other foods around the kitchen, where smells and textures can pull a cat close, even when the food was made for human bodies. Around the wider kitchen, the cat meets foods that were never designed for its body. A roasting chicken may fill the room with a warm animal scent. Butter may soften on toast and release a rich dairy smell. Cheese may sit on a plate with salt, fat, and protein, all gathered into one strong aroma. A slice of deli turkey may carry the smell of meat, even if it also carries seasonings and far more salt than a cat would find in prey. From the floor, these foods can seem important. The cat sees a familiar person eating. The plate is held close. The smell is strong. The routine feels meaningful. A chair scrapes back from the table. A fork touches a plate, and the cat arrives as if it has understood the whole ceremony. Some of these foods contain pieces of signals cats recognize. Roasted meat gives off savory compounds. Butter and cream carry animal fat. Cheese has a dense smell because milk proteins and fats change during aging. Deli meat may smell like turkey, chicken, ham, or beef. Even a salty chip can be interesting because of fat, salt, crunch, and the attention around it. The cat may not be seeking the food in the same way a person is. A person may want the sweetness of whipped cream, the soft comfort of bread, or the sharp taste of cheese. The cat may be drawn toward fat, aroma, texture, or the simple pattern of being near food when humans eat. Bread is a good example. A plain piece of bread contains mostly starch, which is a form of carbohydrate. Cats can digest some carbohydrates, especially when they are cooked, but their natural diet is much lower in starch than a human diet. Bread also lacks the full set of animal-based nutrients a cat needs each day. A cat may still sniff it. The smell of yeast, butter, or toasted crust may be enough to make it curious. The interest comes from the signal, not from the usefulness of the meal. Cheese works in a similar way. It can smell strong because aging breaks milk proteins into smaller compounds. Some cheeses also contain a lot of fat and salt. Those traits can make cheese seem exciting to a cat's nose, while the food itself remains a poor everyday match for an adult cat. Dairy can also contain lactose, and many adult cats handle lactose poorly after the kitten stage. A tiny taste may seem harmless in the moment for some cats, but cheese is not built to replace the careful balance of cat food. Butter and whipped cream carry another kind of temptation. They are smooth, fatty, and rich. 1 tablespoon of butter contains about 100 calories, which is a large amount for an animal that may weigh only 4 or 5 kilograms. For a small body, a little human food can become a large addition. The cat experiences a lick or a nibble. The body receives concentrated fat and calories without the matching protein, minerals, and vitamins of a complete feline meal. Salty snacks create another mismatch. Chips, crackers, and seasoned foods often contain salt, oils, flavor powders, and spices. The crunch may interest a cat. The smell may drift from a bowl on the table. Yet these foods belong to human eating habits, shaped for human taste, storage, and pleasure. They do not carry the quiet structure of prey. They do not rebuild the missing mouse, bird, or small animal body. Owner attention can make the pattern even stronger. If a cat receives a tiny bite during dinner, the whole scene can become memorable. The chair, the plate, the smell, the time of day, and the person's hand all become signals. The cat may ask again the next night, and the night after that. Begging can grow from learning, not just hunger. This helps make the behavior understandable. A cat that stares at a sandwich is responding to a blend of scent, memory, routine, and reward. The body is following clues that once helped it find animal food. The modern kitchen simply contains many extra clues that lead in less useful directions. Some human foods are only a poor fit for regular feeding. Others carry a stronger warning, because certain ingredients in ordinary kitchens can harm cats even in small amounts. That firmer line matters because a cat's senses were shaped for a much older food world. A wildcat could judge the smell of prey, the taste of bitter plant traces, or the freshness of meat left in the open air. A modern kitchen contains ingredients no wildcat ever had to understand. Chocolate may sit in a cookie on the counter. Coffee may cool in a mug beside a laptop. Garlic may be hidden in soup. Onion powder may be mixed into a sauce, a gravy, or a piece of seasoned meat. To a cat, these foods may carry confusing signals. Some smell fatty. Some smell warm. Some smell like meat because they are mixed into meat. The warning is not always obvious from scent alone. Chocolate is one example. It contains compounds called methylxanthines, including theobromine and caffeine. These chemicals are found naturally in cacao beans. Humans can handle small amounts much better than cats can. For a small animal, the same compounds can place stress on the body, especially the nervous system and the heart. Dark chocolate and baking chocolate contain more of these compounds than milk chocolate, which makes them especially important to keep away. Coffee and other caffeine sources belong in the same careful category. Coffee beans, brewed coffee, tea, energy drinks, and some supplements can all contain caffeine. A cat may only see a cup or a spill on a table. Its body would receive a stimulant made for no part of feline life. Alcohol also belongs far outside a cat's food world. Beer, wine, liquor, and foods made with alcohol can affect a small body quickly. A cat's liver is not built to handle alcohol the way an adult human body can. Even small amounts deserve serious caution because the animal is so much lighter than a person. A 4-kilogram cat weighs less than 1/10 of many adults. That difference in size changes everything. Xylitol is another modern ingredient to watch for. It is a sweetener used in some sugar-free gum, candies, baked goods, toothpaste, and specialty foods. Because cats do not taste sweetness normally, xylitol has no useful food meaning for them. It belongs in the category of household ingredients, best kept away from pets, especially because it can be hidden in products that do not look dangerous at first glance. Onions and garlic are especially important because they often disappear into cooked food. A piece of chicken may seem plain from across the room. The sauce on it may contain garlic. A spoonful of gravy may smell meaty. The base may include onion powder. Onions, garlic, leeks, and chives are all members of the allium family. Allium plants contain compounds that can harm red blood cells in cats. Red blood cells carry oxygen through the body, so protecting them matters deeply. The risk can come from fresh, cooked, dried, or powdered forms. Powdered onion and garlic are easy to overlook because they are common in seasoning blends. Grapes and raisins are also best kept away. They are small, ordinary-looking foods in human kitchens, lunchboxes, and baked goods. Their danger is better known in dogs, but safety guidance commonly places them on the avoid list for cats as well. A raisin in a cookie, a grape that rolls under a chair, or dried fruit in a snack bowl can be easy to miss. The safest habit is simple and calm. Foods made for humans stay out of reach. Foods made for cats carry the job of feeding cats. This does not make the kitchen frightening. It only makes it clearer. A cat's body was built to read prey, meat, moisture, warmth, and scent. It was not built to evaluate chocolate, caffeine, alcohol, xylitol, onion powder, garlic sauce, grapes, raisins, or the hidden ingredients inside processed food. So the idea of a favorite food has one more layer. A food can smell interesting and still belong outside the cat's bowl. A food can draw attention and still fail. The deeper test of safety. The safest meal is the one built for the cat's own body, with nutrients measured for its size, age, and needs. Even with those boundaries in place, cats may still appear beside the table. They may stare at a plate, sniff a hand, or wait under a chair with quiet patience. That behavior does not always mean the food itself is needed. Often, the cat is responding to a pattern it has learned. A pattern can begin with something as small as a sound. At 6 in the evening, the refrigerator door opens. A plastic pouch crinkles. A metal spoon taps the edge of a dish. A can lid bends back with a soft click, and the cat appears before the food has reached the bowl. Its body has learned the order of events. The sound comes first. The smell follows. Then food may arrive. This kind of learning is called association. Association means the brain links one event with another because they happen together again and again. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, the scientist Ivan Pavlov became famous for studying this kind of learning in dogs. He found that animals could begin to respond to a signal before food appeared, because the signal had become a promise. Cats can learn in a similar way. A treat bag can become a signal. A cabinet door can become a signal. The sound of footsteps near the kitchen can become a signal. A person sitting down with dinner can become a signal too. The cat may not be asking for the exact food on the plate. It may be answering the whole pattern. The chair moves. The plate arrives. The smell of roasted chicken rises. A familiar hand reaches down once in a while with a tiny piece. After enough evenings, the cat has learned that this scene can produce a reward. Even attention can become part of that reward. A person may look down, speak softly, move a foot, or touch the cat's head. For many cats, those small responses matter. Begging can become a way to enter the social space around food. The cat waits near the table, and the human notices. The cat meows, and the human answers. The cat sits by the same chair, and the evening routine becomes shared. Sometimes the reward is food. Sometimes the reward is attention. That irregular pattern can make the behavior stronger. Animal trainers call this intermittent reinforcement. It means a reward happens sometimes without a perfect schedule. A slot machine works on a similar principle for people. The next try might bring something. For a cat, the next stare, meow, or paw tap might bring a bite of chicken, a treat, or a glance from the person it knows. The behavior keeps returning because the pattern has paid off before. Smell adds another layer. Cooked chicken releases savory compounds into the air. Butter carries fat-rich aroma. Deli meat may smell strongly of animal protein, even when it also contains salt and seasonings. A cat's nose meets these signals before the mind has any human idea of breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The scent says animal food may be nearby. The schedule says this is the time when food often appears. The memory says this person sometimes shares. Together, these signals can pull the cat toward the kitchen or table. Desire in that moment does not have to mean nutritional need. A cat may want the experience, the pattern, the smell, or the reward. Its body may already have eaten a complete meal. The begging can still arrive because the cue has arrived. This is easy to see with cats that gather at the same place every day. Some wait by the food mat before dinner. Some sit beside the cupboard where treats are kept. Some run when they hear a tuna can open, even when the tuna is meant for a human sandwich. Some learn the difference between the sound of a soup can and the sound of a cat food can. The details become part of the cat's private map. That map is built from memory. It is also built from the hunting brain. A hunter survives by noticing reliable signs. A rustle in dry grass can mean a mouse. A tiny scrape near a barn wall can mean movement. A certain smell can mean prey is close. In the home, the signs have changed shape. The rustle may be a packet. The scrape may be a chair. The scent may be dinner warming on a plate. The same alert body is reading a softer world. This makes begging feel less like greed and more like communication shaped by learning. The cat is saying that the pattern has begun. The old system is awake. And this creates the strange modern life of the indoor cat. An ancient hunter living where food appears without chase, capture, or the quiet work of finding it. Inside the home, food follows a different kind of law. A cat may wake from sleep, stretch its front paws across a rug, and walk toward a bowl that has been filled without any hunt at all. No grass moved, no mouse rustled, no shadow crossed a barn wall. The food simply appeared. For an indoor cat, this is one of the great changes of modern life. A meal may arrive every morning at 7. Another may arrive every evening at 6. Dry food may sit in a bowl through the day. Treats may come from a cupboard, a drawer, or a small plastic tube with a familiar sound. The old hunting body lives inside a world of steady supply. That supply can be safe and caring. It can protect a cat from hunger, weather, parasites, traffic, predators, and many outdoor risks. Still, it changes the shape of eating. A wild or free-roaming cat may spend part of the day searching, listening, stalking, waiting, and making sudden short attempts at prey. Many hunts fail. A mouse slips under a board. A bird lifts into the air. A moth disappears behind a porch light. The effort belongs to the meal. Even when the meal never happens, indoor feeding separates much of that effort from the food itself. The cat may walk only a few steps from a bed to a dish. The body receives calories without the long chain of searching and catching. Free feeding makes this separation even stronger. Free feeding means food is available for long stretches of time, often all day. The cat can nibble whenever it wants. That can work for some homes and some cats, especially with careful portions. Yet it also changes the relationship between appetite and activity. The food stays still. The cat does not need to solve a problem to reach it. A full bowl can become part of the furniture, like a lamp, a chair, or a water dish by the wall. Hunting behavior can remain active even when hunger is low. A cat that has eaten breakfast may still crouch behind a curtain when a fly crosses the window. It may still leap after a toy mouse tossed across the floor. It may still watch birds through glass with its tail tip moving in tiny beats. The hunting system responds to movement, sound, size, and timing. Hunger can sharpen the system, but hunger does not fully control it. That is why a well-fed cat can still hunt outdoors. It is also why an indoor cat may chase a feather wand after dinner. The body is practicing an ancient sequence. The eyes track, the shoulders lower, the paws step quietly. The final pounce releases the stored attention. Food and hunting overlap, yet each has its own doorway into the cat's nervous system. This creates a strange abundance. The cat has more reliable food than its ancestors could have imagined. Its body still carries instincts shaped by uncertainty. In the old world, a cat might catch several small meals across a day and night. A mouse might weigh 20 grams. A young rat might be larger and harder to handle. A moth would barely count as food, but the chase could still wake the body. The modern bowl may contain the calories of several small prey animals, gathered into one quiet serving. The cat eats from ceramic, metal, plastic, or glass. The meal may be measured in grams instead of caught in the dark. This does not make indoor life wrong. It makes the feeding experience worth understanding. A cat's favorite food may depend partly on what surrounds the meal. A predictable routine can help a cautious cat feel safe. Play before dinner can wake the hunting sequence before the bowl arrives. A puzzle feeder can make dry food harder to reach, so the cat has to paw, push, roll, or search. small meals can feel closer to the old pattern of repeated catches. A slow feeder can turn eating into a gentler task instead of a quick swallow. The food itself still matters. Protein, fat, moisture, smell, texture, and safety remain important. The way food is offered adds another layer. The indoor cat lives in softness, with blankets, windows, bowls, and familiar rooms. Under that softness, the older hunter is still present, waiting for movement, pattern, and purpose. When the meal no longer hides under leaves or slips through grass, the home can still give food a small trace of the hunt. That trace can begin before the bowl touches the floor. For a cat, dinner is not only the food itself. It can also be the search, the scent, the waiting, the small effort, and the moment of discovery. The old hunting sequence had a clear shape. A cat searched first. Then it watched. Then it crept closer. Then came the pounce. Only after that did the eating begin. Indoor meals often begin at the final step. Food appears already caught, already still, already waiting in a dish. Feeding enrichment adds some of the earlier steps back in a gentle way. Enrichment means making an animal's daily life more interesting by giving it safe chances to use natural behaviors. For cats, that can mean climbing, scratching, watching birds through a window, chasing toys, or working a little for food. A food puzzle is one simple example. Some are balls that release pieces of kibble when the cat rolls them. Some are trays with little tunnels, cups, ridges, or sliding parts. The cat has to paw, sniff, push, and test the object before the food appears. That small effort can make the meal more mentally engaging. The food becomes something to find. A slow feeder works in a softer version of the same idea. Instead of eating quickly from a flat dish, the cat has to move food around small raised shapes. The meal lasts longer. The mouth works more carefully. The paws may become involved. For a cat that eats too fast, this can also make the pace more natural. Small hidden portions can carry the feeling even closer to a search. A few pieces of dry food might be placed in different safe spots in one room. A spoonful of wet food might be offered after a short play session. A treat might be tucked into a puzzle mat, away from noisy appliances and busy walkways. The cat follows scent and memory through a familiar space. A house becomes a softer version of a hunting ground, with rugs instead of grass and table legs instead of tree roots. Scent trails can be especially interesting because the nose is already so important to feeding. A tiny bit of food scent on a puzzle feeder, a small treat hidden under crinkled paper, or a familiar bowl placed in a calm corner can invite the cat to investigate. The goal is not to make eating hard. The goal is to let the cat use the systems it already has. Play can also prepare the body for food. A feather wand moving across the floor can wake the search and stalk pattern. A toy mouse dragged around a corner can draw out a careful crouch. A short pounce at the end gives the body a small finish to the chase. Then the meal arrives. The order feels more like the old pattern. Hunt first, eat after. Even warmth and texture can become part of this gentle design. Wet food warmed slightly can release more aroma. Shredded food, flakes, pâté, chunks in gravy, and kibble Each give the mouth a different kind of work. A cat that prefers one texture may be telling a clear sensory story. Stable routines matter as well. A cat often feels safer when meals happen in a calm place at a familiar time. The same mat, the same quiet corner, or the same small ritual before food can help the animal relax enough to eat. For a cautious cat, safety is part of appetite. For an older cat, smell may matter more. For a playful young cat, the search may matter more. The favorite meal becomes a whole event. It begins before the first bite. It includes the sound of the food being prepared, the smell rising from the dish, the temperature of the food, the texture in the mouth, and the small pattern that leads the cat toward it. After all of this, the answer to the old question begins to change. A cat's favorite food is no longer just chicken, fish, turkey, or beef. It is a set of signals that tells the body the meal is real, safe, fresh, and worth eating. Those signals gather again around the bowl. A cat steps close, lowers its head, and pauses in the familiar way. The food may be chicken, salmon, turkey, beef, rabbit, or a carefully made blend with a name printed on the label. The deeper answer lives underneath the flavor. A cat's favorite food is usually the food that best matches the body of a small carnivore. It carries animal-based nutrients. It gives off a strong enough smell. It has a texture the mouth accepts. It holds moisture, warmth, and familiarity in a way the cat can understand. The story began with prey. A mouse near a grain store was a full meal in a small body. Its muscle carried protein. Its organs carried concentrated nutrients. Its bones and tissues carried minerals. Its body water helped support hydration. That whole package shaped what cats came to need. Modern cats still depend on animal-based nutrients that matter in very specific ways. Taurine helps support the heart, eyes, and normal reproduction. Arginine helps the body handle ammonia, a waste product made when protein is broken down. Arachidonic acid is a fatty acid used in many body signals. Preformed vitamin A gives cats a usable form of a vitamin they cannot make well from orange plant pigments. Vitamin D also has to be supplied in the right form through food. These details make the cat's bowl more than a place for calories. It is a quiet daily supply of chemistry the body cannot easily build on its own. The senses help the cat find that chemistry. Smell often comes before taste. A warm, wet food releases more scent than chilled food because more aroma molecules rise into the air. Those molecules drift from the surface of the food and touch receptors inside the nose. A cat reads that invisible cloud before the first bite. Warmth can make food seem fresher and easier to understand. Food near 37 degrees Celsius, close to the body temperature of a small mammal, may carry a stronger echo of newly caught prey. Texture adds its own answer. Cats have carnassial teeth, the cutting teeth that slide past each other like shears. Their mouths are shaped for biting, tearing, and slicing. That helps explain why one cat may love shreds, another may prefer pâté, and another may choose kibble that cracks in a familiar way. The tongue tells a different part of the story. Cats cannot taste sweetness normally because a key sweet receptor gene no longer works as a normal instruction. Sugar is quiet in their world. Savory meat signals speak much more clearly. Their taste system is tuned toward compounds linked with animal cells, broths, meat, fish, and organs. Bitterness adds caution. A bitter taste can make a cat pull away from medicine, spoiled food, or unfamiliar chemicals. The same careful mouth that looks for meat also watches for warning signs. That caution matters in a modern kitchen. Chocolate, caffeine, alcohol, xylitol, onions, garlic, grapes, raisins, and seasoned human foods belong outside the cat's bowl. Many are ordinary to people. Several can be hidden inside sauces, baked goods, drinks, or table scraps. A cat's nose was shaped for prey, not for every ingredient humans have invented. So the safest favorite is the one built for a cat's body. It may be wet or dry. It may be fish, chicken, turkey, rabbit, beef, or another animal-based recipe. It may be served in a puzzle feeder, a slow feeder, a small dish, or a calm corner of the room. The exact form can vary from cat to cat. The pattern stays steady. Meat-based nutrition, readable scent, comfortable texture, enough moisture, safe ingredients, a familiar routine. The cat at the bowl begins to look less puzzling. Its pause has meaning. Its sniffing has purpose. Its preferences carry history. Inside the soft life of a house pet is an older animal shaped by fields, barns, stone walls, grain stores, and small movements in the dark. The bowl is modern. The body remembers something older. And as the cat finally bends down to eat, the answer settles into something calm and clear. Its favorite food is the meal that lets the ancient hunter recognize nourishment in the quiet safety of home.